I will read out some of the facts that I believe that should be taken into consideration. Public relations dealt with specially and for special causes. First is there is no proper training of the officers concerned who are taking the public to the law. Then there are no facilities. There are no facilities to be given to the villagers to come forth and give evidence as against a person who has committed an offence or some information. I say so because they are not guarded by any law for providing any incidents of information. Where a member of the public comes and gives us information, they are not protected by the law properly. Then, even the public and the police officers, they have no knowledge of the occurrences of the village in the day-to-day life. There is no knowledge on the side of the service where police officers who go to arrest and go to the courthouse have knowledge about what they are doing. So I would suggest that there should be trained officers in the process of arresting a subject or a suspect, and then producing such accused person to the courthouse with the proper knowledge given to the magistrate as to the commission of the offence. Then the public should also be enlightened of simple law. When I say simple law, about commission of offences that are happening with the omissions of certain things, I should say, where the law says an offence is a state of affairs where somebody commits a certain thing or omits a certain thing. There are certain commissions who are offences, there are certain omissions which are offences. Now such things must be clearly explained to the public and as to how they should take action when it comes to a situation. Then every officer should act according to the law provided by the Criminal Procedure Code, where a person is arrested and up to the time where he is produced before a magistrate. Now the place, the amount of things that a person should be given knowledge of is very limited. But even though if it's limited, the member of the public has the right to come to know as to why he is being arrested, as to why he is being produced before the court, and the kith and kin should be given information as to why he has been arrested. Now, if a person, a young police officer from the rank of the constable and the sub-inspector and the sergeant are not given proper training in the arrest and the producing of a person before the magistrate, then it becomes a problem to the magistrate. Now the magistrate cannot go through everything in detail and tell everything to a police officer when it comes to the courthouse. It is the responsibility of the OIC, officer in charge of the police station, to train this officer. So I suggest strongly that there are special methods of training constables, sergeants, sub-inspectors, inspectors and chief inspectors in going to the courts, in going to the magistrate courts, in going to the high courts or the district courts, whatever it may be as the case requires. Now, there are certain instances where the police officers, before going to courts, will have to get the advice of the Attorney General and the Solicitor General and so on and so forth. Nowadays, I have to very sadly mention that we do not have young officers who have that sort of what should I call it, magnanimity or the tenacity to go up to the Attorney General or the Solicitor General and speak to them and get whatever advice they should have in proceeding with a case. Here, I strongly mention that the legal division of the police department should take steps to have a special training course in how to make files, in how to produce a file that should go to the Attorney General, and thereby to the Solicitor General, and then where they should proceed and get instructions as to what should be done. Now here again, there's a very big problem. Nowadays, the young police officers who join the service, even as sub-inspectors, are not proficient in English. They are not at all proficient in English. And most of the things that we do in the High Court and the Supreme Court and the Appeal Court are mostly in English language. I don't say that we cannot produce something in Sinhalese to be presented to these courts, but the fact lies that all the references that has to be done are in English. Now, how do we get across this and overcome this problem? I strongly suggest that there are a system, that's a system where senior officers who are proficient in English are given the chance to lecture to these officers who are young, especially sub-inspectors and PCs who have the knack of getting up and speaking about something in law, or fight against something, or put up a fight against your own police officer, so that they can be trained as to how to go to a courthouse and then do these things. Other than this, I can mention very many instances where the police department has broken down in the sense of relations with the public. It has become very poor because the police department has become politicized. Everywhere in this country, even officers in charge or the juniors, they act according to the whims and fancies of the police department. I say so because I know that it is happening. I am not afraid to say it. This is a very tragic situation where the police department has been politicized. I strongly suggest that the selection to the police department in the ranks of the sub-inspectors and the constables are very, very, very strictly coordinated and done. And from people who have the background to withstand any pressure from politics or superior officers or the public, to withstand pressure from politicians and the public or the superior officers. They can be misled very badly to do the things that they want to be done. This is what has happened to the police department. I am very sorry. I am very sorry. I have seen so many instances where the police officers have no choice but to do what the politicians and the public needs them to do. Why? Why? Because there is no independent judiciary or independent police commission at this very moment in this country. I strongly suggest that if the police department is to be a successful department for the people, to the people, and by the people, that they should never be tempered by the Ministry of Defence. The Ministry of Defence should be far away from the police department. Otherwise, the police department will never be an independent service. Number two, the officers selected must be from the background where they can be very independent of anything that is happening in the surroundings. For that, the department which selects the police officers must be very careful. You cannot select any police officer from here and there, the whims and fancies of politicians, those people who obey the politicians, and so on and so forth. What has happened right now, the breakdown of public relations, is the police acting on behalf of the politicians or whims and fancies of some powerful person in the area. May I suggest that in expecting the police department of Sri Lanka to be highly successful, and which the public will have a high regard of their relations with the public, to have an independent police department without tampering of the public or the politicians or the Ministry of Defence.